I'm here tonight on behalf of seniors and people with disabilities who live on a second-floor unit who are having problems climbing stairs or mobility issues, who have issues about aging in place, and how we can continue that discussion we've had over the last few rent stabilization meetings, where a person on a second floor or third floor can move down to a first-floor unit and develop a mechanism that is a win-win situation for a landlord and a tenant. Last time we talked, David Gregoire made a suggestion about, over 14 years, he hadn't really seen too much develop as far as recommendations to the City Council from the Commission. And I was told, and I did my homework, to ask around and see what the appropriate venue would be to try to promote this idea. And in asking around, this venue is fine, the goal being a recommendation, an item to make this item an item that gets agendized, discussed, and possibly have a recommendation to the City Council so that they would be able to take up this issue. So my main goal is to get this on the agenda for discussion so that you can decide if it's worthy to be a recommendation to the City Council. The mechanism is simple. It's complicated, but I got a little yelled at from Elizabeth at the East Side Working Group talking about the rent stabilization. She told me I was in trouble. But the question was, I believe, was more that perhaps the landlords would not agree to this proposal or a proposal of this type. But I made a copy of a proposal, and I believe it's all been circulated to you to read and try to understand a mechanism that we could do, and it's quite simple for the people who are at home listening, and that is if a rental on a second floor unit pays $500 in a rent stabilized unit, and say the market rent is $1,500, and the unit becomes available on the first floor that has a market rate of $1,500, that tenant would have a right of first refusal to move to a first floor unit. The landlord, who used to get $1,500 for his market rate unit downstairs, and $500 for his unit upstairs, had a gross aggregate revenue of $2,000. But if that second floor unit carried the market rent of $1,500 and the first floor unit has a market rent of $1,500, the landlord now has an aggregate revenue of $3,000. And my proposal says that the landlord should credit the tenant for this agreeable move a percentage of that profit. Now, the tenant would have to pay more. Perhaps the tenant would have to pay $1,500, but he gets or she gets a $500 credit. So in essence, they're still paying more money, but that might kick in some other programs that could help a senior or a person with disabilities. Like in rental units, we have the Affordable Housing Loan Program and various other rental programs that are administered that allow things. So it's only a baseline to start a discussion about how to enhance our Vision 2020 plans and aging in place. It's just a baseline to give a mechanism for a tenant to get that right of first refusal. Thank you very much for all your time.